Hare Krishna and welcome all devotees to our weekly session on Nectar of Instructions. So this is a book written by Sri Rupa Goswami and included in the Bhakti Shastri Prose. Prabhupada wanted this book to be studied by each and every sincere devotee, and hence he insisted that this book should be included in the Bhakti Shastri syllabus that we have for all the sincere devotees. So let's begin by chanting the Pranam mantra for Swami Shri Chaitanya Mano Krishna Snapitam Vijayana Bhaktale Swayam Rupa Padamiyam Dadati Snapitam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. Srila Goswami Jai. So, up till now, we have discussed four verses, and what we'll do is we'll do a quick recap of what we have learned, and then we'll move forward. And we'll do recap by way of an activity. So, we've done the the Vacho Vegam verse, the Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, the six type of Vegas that a guru should be able to control. They are of mind and body, and plus he should have attachment to Krishna. And such a person, Sarvam Apimam Shri Prithvim Sashishya, Sarvam, such a person can accept disciple all over the world. So these six type of Vegas that a guru should be able to control, or any sincere devotee should be able to control. Then Atyahara Prayasasya Prajalpa Niyamapraha Janasangascha Laulyamcha Shadbhir Bhakti Vinakshati. So these six activities, if one indulge into, Rupa Goswami gives list of six activities. If we indulge in those six activities, our Bhakti Lata, which will get destroyed, Vinakshati. And similarly, Sri Rupa Goswami is providing a list of six other activities which can help flourish our bhakti. Which are those six activities are Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dharya, Tattat Karma Pravartana, Janasangascha, Daulyamcha, Shraddhir Bhakti, Prasiddhati. So, no, the Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dharya, Tattat Karma Pravartana, Sangatyagat, Satovritti, Shraddhir Bhakti, Prasiddhati. So Sangatyag, in the third verse it is Jana Sangascha, and in the fourth verse it is Sangatyag. It means the same. Avoiding association with non-devotees and taking association with devotees. Now that's the thrust of the whole section. And then in the fourth verse, Sri Rupa Goswami again gives different six ways in which we can associate with devotees. We can start associating with devotees, and those six ways are universally applied. Any good relationship, if we have, we can see that if we do those six activities, our relationship will go deeper and will become stronger. So those six activities were the dadati pratigrahanati, giving and accepting gifts. Gujam akshati prochatam, speaking our mind, our heart, sharing our heart with someone. And similarly, when they share, we hear attentively, we give solutions. And bhunte bhojayate chaiva, that feeding other devotees with prasad and accepting prasad when it is offered by other devotees. So these six activities plus we have learned in Bhagavad Gita, that's 4.34, how we should inquire from a guru. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnana sevaya upadikshante jnanam jnanena tattvadarshana. Then how we should, in the Vaishnava etiquettes, we have learned many things that how we should reciprocate with a devotee. Now, what we'll do is we'll do a quick activity, shouldn't spend a lot of time. Assume that all 34 of us live in one home and we wish to invite senior devotees, say Nautam Prabhuji, along with some other senior devotees from ISKCON Juhu to our home. And we need to plan for this event. This will be on, say, 21st of January. And so let's raise hands and plan for this event, make a list of things to do and not to do. Now, keeping in mind all that what we have learned in the Vaishnava etiquettes in Bhagavad Gita, in the first initial 3-4 verses of nectar of instructions as well. The For ease of reference purpose, I have bifurcated activities that we may have to do for the hosting this event on 21st January next Sunday into say 6-7 categories. Say invitation. How should we invite? What should we do before the event day? One day prior the event day. What we should do on the event day? How should we receive? What should be the arrangements? And should there be any bifurcation for some devotees? Can we have a special arrangement, special sitting arrangement? Say senior devotees, those who play instruments for kirtan, should we make special arrangement for them? Those who could may not be able to sit down, should we have separate arrangement for them? And how should we serve prasad? And how should we see them off? How should we handle their departure? So these are approximately 6-7 activities. So, and we should discuss how these are done, keeping in mind the Vaishnava etiquettes, keeping in mind what should be done and what should not be done, both. So, request all of you to raise hands, and we can take. Many of you have actually hosted devotees in past, so a lot of you might be aware, obviously, but some of you may not have done that practically or in their own homes. I'll encourage them to speak out. These are a lot of it is quite commonsensical, but yeah, in a Vaishnava culture, this has been given a lot of importance. The way we receive guests, the way we make them seated, the way we interact with them, the way we offer them prasad, all those, Chaitan Chatamrit is filled with examples of beautiful interactions between devotees, and so that becomes our guiding principles. So feel free to raise hands and we can do this activity for 5 minutes. We should understand what to do and what not to do. Both. Don't take to chat box. I will not be able to check the chat box parallelly. If you're typing, I will not be able to figure out that. But apart from Vikas Pujya has done that hosting once, I believe. So we'll encourage others to speak, and then if nobody else want to speak, then we'll go to Vikas Pujya. I hope, yes, Sudeep Prabhuji. Yes, Sudeep Prabhuji, you can start. Sudeep Prabhuji also hosted once all devotees at his home, so he's also well versed. But I'll encourage others who have so far not done this activity practically. It is for you to stretch your imagination and think what to do based on what we have done. Yes, Sudeep Prabhuji and then Vikas Prabhuji. Meanwhile, others please raise hands.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you. It's a very nice topic and really favorite topic. Inviting the devotees is really a fortune for all us, the junior people who are actually learning how to do all these things. So this is quite nice. So it starts with the invitation, and a lot of planning goes for this during this phase. Because we have to now fix up a date, fix up the times, and also we have to check availability of uh, most of our devotees so that they are comfortable during that time to come, and also particularly senior devotees whom we will never like to miss. Actually, we will never like to miss anyone during this program. And then we send the invitations to them so that they can know, they are aware about the venue, they are aware about the time, so and for which they will be attending. We also talk to a few senior devotees with whom we are very close to understand that how to organize the program and what are the things we should consider. We should note down as a checklist, and we should not miss out those things like how many garlands, what are the flowers we should use, how to decorate the room, how to make devotees more comfortable because uh, even if it is our home, now that particular day we have to make all the devotees at home. So that is how we have to keep our house clean. We have to clean up everything. We have to make special arrangements for people who have to sit on the chairs. We have to make arrangements for and clean up the floor so that we can accommodate maximum devotees on the floor to do kirtanas. The devotees who will be singing and doing kirtana, they need to be placed in a particular part of the room from where they can be seen by everyone. So these are the things which we plan accordingly. And yes, during the previous day or the day when it happens, the occasion happens, then we have to prepare for the shopping for the things the from the market. We buy the fresh vegetables for the prasadam, uh, which has to be offered to the god, and then which has to be offered to the devotees. And that is how we have to plan out everything. How What are the items to be cooked, and what is the likings of the devotees. So these are the things which we usually take care of. And during the particular day we organize for the flowers so that we get them fresh, and they are nice smelling flowers, which are liked by all and by our senior devotees particularly. And also uh, during serving prasadam, we are very careful sitting of the devotees in a clean place, and maximum people can move around also, and the help in the serving. We have enough space for maximum people to sit and others to do the serving. So, and during departure, it is very useful and important that we honor our devotees, senior devotees, particularly with the dakshina, as well as we also give maybe some small return gifts to all the devotees, and it becomes a nice and memorable event for everyone. And this all happens in a very nice and devotional mood. And we invite everyone for our Nitai Gaur, so we make it a good opportunity for everyone to go and pay obeisances to Nitai Gaur in the altar. So this is all we do, Prabhuji. Maybe I have not made it in the right order. You can please excuse me for that.
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for listing out very beautifully all that what we should do. And so the difficult task now is to figure out what you have missed out and plug the holes. So, Vikas Prabhuji, over to you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Sudeep Prabhuji has already covered that elaborately with point to point. And one two point that even we learned from Sudeep Prabhuji and Drupadi Mataji, that we can discuss about the liking and disliking of a particular devotee with the other devotees who have already invited him, because they knows that what is the liking. And this is very natural actually, means one becomes very pleased as His Grace Sitaram Prabhuji says that you should invite devotees and feed them prasadam. And if they just say that prasadam was just very delicious, and your life is means you have made the mark of your life, means your life is will be become fully Krishna conscious, will become devotional. And for that, Mataji plays a wonderful role, because they know that which senior devotee likes what kind of preparations. And that I got to know, and I would like to disclose it, that because Narottam Prabhuji would be invited by others devotees as well, and Krishna willing by us again and again and again by his mercy. So one point is that beautifully that yes, that one ingredient is Narottam Prabhuji does not like chole. He is allergic to that. So why I am announcing it, because everyone can take a note of this and be aware about it. And this was told to me by Rupati Mataji. So again, when this last verse that we read, actually this comes very handy in that, because we are in consultation with other devotees, and they make us comfortable. And as someone might be, means reluctant to talk about something directly to that particular devotee. But when we talk to other devotees who are senior devotees or who are experienced devotees who have got ideas about the liking and disliking of that particular devotees, we can consult it with them and can get it rectified. Then some particular things as uh, Prabhuji did, but it is such a this is such an elaborate topic that some or other points always remains. So it was like Mataji blow the conch shell when devotees comes. So in that mood, in that way, we actually welcome devotees at our home, so that uh, it becomes a very auspicious atmosphere. And then their seating arrangements, like Prabhuji told, the Kirtan party actually whoever devotee comes for the kirtan, they are to be given the specific seat and the arrangement uh, as per their convenience. So that means they are very comfortable, and ultimately uh, the atmosphere of the house, that is to be, as Narottam Prabhuji likes, that the deities or pictures of the Lord should be every now and then, which every here and there, there should be different uh, deity forms of the Lord. And as we can see from the house of His Grace Mamri Ram Prabhuji also, that every here and there we find different deities of Lord. And serving prasadam, yes, and serving prasadam is that ultimately we should try to feed them more and more. But as Rotam Prabhuji says, that we should respect the capacity of the devotees also. So that should be done in a very loving manner. That means how we can actually reciprocate with the devotee, so that it doesn't become, though it is a prasadam, and it will not give any side effect, but ultimately the stomach is a materialistic thing, as Prabhuji mentions at times, that uh, it needs to be its devotees not to be stressed upon overeating, though they may accept lovingly, but ultimately their spiritual life should not get stuck because of that. So that was also on the lighter note, but we must try to feed them as much as we can and as much as they can take. So,
So thank you. Yeah, thank you
yes,
so much, Prabhuji. You have covered
Hare
a
Krishna.
lot of things. We'll just move to Shankaranand Prabhuji, who recently had invited a lot of devotees at his home, conducted Abhishek of his Laddu Gopal Diti. So Prabhuji, what has been missed out? You pinpoint what has not spoken. Try not to repeat anything. Otherwise, we'll finish the whole class in this only. So such a dear topic to all of us, and as Vikasaji was mentioning, it's all done so lovingly, and the whole from the moment you start planning till the day you execute and clean up everything, it's such a blissful time of the whole period is so blissful. So yes, Shankaranand जी, आप you can
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत
आप
प्रणाम।
हाँ वही ऐड करता जो मिस आउट हुआ है आपको लगता है, ट्राई नॉट टू रिपीट whatever has already been covered.
ओके ओके प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत
Hare
प्रणाम।
Krishna.
प्रभु जी वैसे तो सुदीप प्रभु जी और विकास प्रभु जी ने एवरीथिंग कवर कर लिया है। पर प्रभु जी मैं एक मेंशन करना चाहता हूँ ना कि जैसे कोई अगर अपने घर पे अभिषेक रख रहा है, कि अभिषेक के समय पे जो अभिषेक पॉट्स रहते हैं, और उसको प्रॉपरली जब हम लोग अभिषेक करने का समय होता है, उस समय कोई एक पर्टिकुलर डिवोटी रहे, उसको प्रॉपरली जो जो ब्रह्मचारी या जो भी प्रभु जी आते हैं टेम्पल से, वो अभिषेक करे। और सेकेंडली प्रभु जी जो सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट है ना, खासकर प्रभु जी जो जो ब्रह्मचारी कमिंग फ्रॉम द टेम्पल प्रभु जी, उनके लिए प्रभु जी जैसे मेरे से एक मिस्टेक हुआ था, क्योंकि मैंने सिटिंग अरेंजमेंट में ये कर दिया था, मुझे लगा था कि ब्रह्मचारी मतलब जो बेड होता है, बेड के ऊपर ही मैंने उनके लिए अच्छे से बेडशीट कुछ बिछा दिया था उस पे बैठने के लिए। बट दे मतलब वो उन्होंने लाइक नहीं किया। फिर उन्होंने चूज किया कि मैं नीचे ही मतलब एक थोड़ा नीचे ही बैठूंगा। बट मुझे ऐसा करना चाहिए था कि उनके लिए एक अलग से चेयर रखना चाहिए था। ये मैंने मिस्टेक किया। तो अगर कोई डिवोटी अपने घर पे ऐसा कुछ करते हैं, तो जो चेयर पर्सन है, जो लेक्चर मतलब जो सत्संग सुनाने वाले हैं और जो कीर्तन करने वाले हैं, खासकर जो सत्संग सुनाने वाले हैं, उनके लिए जो चेयर है, तो वो प्रॉपरली एक बेड वगैरह या सोफा वगैरह नहीं रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो लाइक नहीं करते। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Anybody else would like to say anything? How to जो miss out हुआ है again not to repeat? Um, we'll go through some hands being raised.
प्रभु जी एक पॉइंट मैं बोलना चाहूंगा.
हाँ प्रभु, yes, yes.
During arrival and departure of the devotees and senior devotees, we should be very alert and conscious so that they are very comfortable while the coming, and we should they should be well received at the gate. And also while departure, we should go and drop till his proper vehicle and let them be comfortable and sit along with offering art, whatever we want to send with him, that should be accompanied by the self, and so that it can be properly placed, and senior devotee should be comfortable that part.
Yes, Guruji, I think brought out a very important point that we need to go down and receive as much as possible. Because generally, we all of us live in complexes and not independent homes, so there are securities. The gates are different. Arrival in gate, out gate can be different. The devotees might be coming for the first time, or the driver could be new. So there will always be some confusion. So if you can manage that piece, then their arrival become very smooth. And at the same time, the vehicle should be placed for parking the vehicle. There should be driver's prasad should be taken care of. And then at the time of departure, we can personally go down and help the departure as well. Ashwini Kumar Shukla, please. One last comment. You are on unmute, Prabhu. You can speak. Anybody else wish to say anything in this regard?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can
Yes,
I add? Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, since the address is your home, I just wanted to add that people coming from New Bombay or Thane, while in the invitation itself, we should tell them what route to be taken, because last time I missed a lot of kirtan because I took a route over the bridge, and which made me around 1.5 hours on the bridge itself. So I lost a lot of time in crossing the distance. So in invitation, if we can clear the route, what will be the best route to reach your house would be great. Sometimes depending on Google Map is not that advisable. So that is my addition, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
sure. Hare Krishna. So we should give the proper route, tell where not to come from. If there are any specific areas where there is perpetual traffic jams, then if we know that, we should yes, definitely. Nice point. Vikas Soji, you have anything more to comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Actually, 2 points that remain, which that Mataji actually told that whenever, as Vinod Prabhuji brought out, that whenever we receive devotees in our complex, so we should make arrangements to shower flower on them, so that it is very pleasant, and it is also an etiquette, as Mataji explained. And another is that if the devotees allows, we should wash their feet, and that is also a sign of respect, and that is also Vaishnava etiquette that is done to the senior devotees whenever they reaches our house.
Yes.
And ultimately, when they reaches at our home, something to drink should be offered to them, as we generally do. But and that is one etiquette, and we should speak very sweet words. Yes.
So we should welcome them nicely.
Yes.
We should offer them chandan. We should offer them garlands. All the senior devotees, initiated devotees, all of them can be offered garland. Everyone, whoever is there, ideally we should call devotees who are attendees before the senior devotees arrive. So typically, if program is at say 7 o'clock, then we should ask everyone to be in the house by 6:30, and so then the devotees can come at 6:45, 6:50, and whoever are present in the house, they should all pay obeisances the moment the senior devotees arrive. So again, that's a very basic etiquette, but at times we forget, and so this is how we should receive them by going down. The host of the event should, and this is not necessarily we should, in any interaction this can be followed. Wherever we invite devotees, this can be followed in a very, it's a loving exchange, and there's no restriction that it should only be done on these days and these days with these devotees. It can be done even amongst equals as well. So then Obviously, then everybody should pay obeisances the moment devotees arrive. They should be made to sit. We should speak with them sweetly. Temperature should be ideal. It should be too wind, not should be too cold, not should be too hot. We can offer them something, some welcome drink to have as per again choices. Then then typically should be separate arrangements for sitting of Matajis and Prabhujis. We can't hold we don't have to mix it. So we should plan things. Then once the senior devotees come, we should show them the whole the arrangement and take their suggestions if they have and make the suitable changes, keep things flexible. Sometimes the Kirtan party typically wants to sit in a particular direction. They don't want fan. That time AC can be switched on if it is there. So we should be attentive and on our feet, available to them if they want to tell us something, make some changes in the way we have done the arrangements. We should be able to do that. Then we should take them to our altar. Our altar should be nicely cleaned, as Sudiprabhuji briefly mentioned that it should be nicely decorated. Fragrant flower should be used. Most all devotees, they love fragrant flowers, be it modra, be it other the flowers which gives natural fragrance. So that's something that makes the whole atmosphere very auspicious, very sattvic, and that is generally liked by all devotees. And so that is again we can offer the garlands made by those fragrant flowers. The altar should be decorated by flowers as much as possible, and all of this to be done yatha shakti. We don't have to go overboard. We don't have to borrow and do this, but it can be done as per our capacity. But it has to be done in a very loving way, and we need to make sure that when devotees come and during the entire event, our the close family members who are who should be engaged in service, direct service as much as possible, and all of them can be introduced. Our relatives, if we have called in the those who might not be a devotee background, but if we have called them for this event, we should take this opportunity to introduce them to yogis, ask them all to go down, then tell them how to pay obeisances, and then everyone should offer their respects, offer their obeisances to all the senior devotees and take their blessings. So these blessings are extremely important, and it's not just it can change it can make our life auspicious. It can change the course of our life. So seeking blessings, attracting blessings is always nice. And then the food when we offer, it should be hot. There should be proper arrangements to heat the food so that the cold food is not served to the devotees, because there will be time gap when the devotees arrive and the devotees take prasad. So there will be talks amongst devotees, then there will be discussion, then there will be some kirtan, some katha, and then followed by prasad. So all of those, so in the sequence of event, the food should be ready, the prasad should be ready, and but as soon as Prabhuji gives indication, we should have proper facility to heat it and then serve hot prasad to devotees. That's again, and then dadati pratigrahanati. The devotees typically will bring something to whenever they visit homes. They carry something with them. They even sannyasis give gifts. Sannyasis often carry the brajraj, the dust from the brajabhumi, and then it's packed nicely. It's Gangajal, wherever they are coming from, they will bring something for us as well. And then, so we should also reciprocate by giving dakshina suitably to all the senior devotees, and giving some memento, some gifts. There's no need for it to be very costly. But some memento should be offered, and some gift should be offered. Again, it's a more of a loving exchange. And so the departure should be handled very nicely, as Vinod Prabhuji said. And when all of this is done nicely, our devotion increases, our faith in bhakti increases, it's a purifying the whole event from planning to execution and to cleaning. It's extremely stressful. and we should make it stressful for ourselves. We shouldn't take it lightly, shouldn't take it cheaply. क्या होगा देखा जाएगा, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, ये नहीं हुआ तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है. We shouldn't take things for granted. We should make our best effort to make this whole event very nice experience to everyone, and we will get blessings in the return, and those are extremely critical. Those are our spiritual security, so we should not miss out on that aspect. Again, cooking is to be done in consultation with senior devotees, with prior approvals. What is like, what is allergies, all of those things to be taken care of. And so we can go on discussing the order of the food in which it is ordered, in which it should be offered, how the bhoga should be offered. All of those will come in the Vaishnava etiquettes, but all of those, most of us are not well aware of those things, so we'll skip those aspects. So overall, the dadati pratigrahanati guhyam akshiti pruchatam and bhunte bhojate chaivam, all of these things can be very beautifully, very lovingly done, and we should long, we should aspire, we should always be thinking, when is the next opportunity when I can call devotees with me. It need not be a big bang event. It need not be a 100 devotees coming. Then only you can call 10 devotees. You can call 5 devotees. You can call a small group of the close devotees who are very close to you. And it has to happen. The kirtan, katha, and prasad. These things will happen, and the devotees should come, and we should call devotees at homes. Again, it's for personal purification. So it's more for our own purification that we do this. And anyone who has done this, they will have that personal experience of how beautiful this whole thing is. We'll move forward with the 5th verse of Nectar of Instructions. And so this is a different verse. Now, where Sri Rupa Goswami is moving on tracks, and so right from selecting a guru, what should not be done by a devotee, what should be done by a devotee, and how to interact with people in general, and especially those who are like-minded, those who are devotee. Now he comes to the specifics. Specifics means how to we associate, and how do we basically, now we've seen that there could be special arrangement for senior devotees. Food choices of senior devotees should be considered. Special seating to be provided to the senior devotees. Garland to be offered to the senior devotees. Some dakshina to be given to the senior devotees. And there could be 50 other devotees in participating in that event. But we're doing so much for the senior devotees, and the others are also taken care of. Not that they are completely ignored, but senior devotee is paid special attention to. Now, the today's verse is specifically going to talk about that. We'll just go the word by word meaning, and then we'll go to the translation. So, Krishna, the holy name of the Lord Krishna, iti, thus, yasya, of whom, giri, in the words or speech, tam, him, manasa, by the mind, adriyata, one must honor. Diksha, initiation, asti, there is, cheta, if, pranitibha, by obeisances, cha, also, bhajantam, engage in devotional service, esham, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shrushusha, Susrushaya, by practical service, bhajana, jnanam, vijnanam, one who is advanced in devotional service, ananyam, without deviation, anya ninda adi, of the blasphemy of others, etc. Shunya, completely devoid, Rudam, whose heart, Ipsita, his high rebel, Sangha, association, and Labdhya, by gaining. The translation will go directly. We should mentally honor the devotees who chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotees who has undergone spiritual initiation diksha and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advancing undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of propensity to criticize others. Now, the three paragraphs give three three types of devotees. We're talking about three types of devotees mentioned here. Uh, so, quick round of discussion, and all those who spoke earlier should not speak now. Why should one at all differentiate between devotees? Is it not proper for us to treat everyone equally? Why should we at all differentiate between devotees? First, though, we differentiate between devotees and non-devotees. Now we are saying amongst devotees also, there should be a differentiation. Why should we do it at all? Is it not unfair? If no hands are raised, then we should end the class, or I should call out names and ask everyone to speak. Jigna Mataji, can you say something on this? Why we need to differentiate amongst devotees? Nagendra Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In my opinion, that some senior devotees they are more closely to Sri Krishna, and some other devotees they are likely to learning towards going towards the Krishna. And I would say to the senior devotee, they are more spiritualized. They are more engaged than the junior devotees.
Okay, nice point. Very nice point. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Anamika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Near to same is my answer also, that senior devotees are much closer to Krishna. They much loved by Krishna because of the devotion and the way they are they serve to the Lord. So we need to learn from them a lot also and follow their path. So that is the reason why should we pay more obeisances to senior devotees and not treat other devotees. I mean, all the devotees are same. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Vikas Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So as Srila Prabhupada in this purport actually mentions the three types of the devotees, that Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari and Uttam Adhikari. So as per their closeness to Krishna, as Mataji and Prabhuji mentioned that beautifully. So ultimately the Uttam Adhikaris are on the level that they are actually seeing everyone as a soul which needs to come closer to Krishna, and they are very, very compassionate. So if we start treating them with the one who is on the neophyte level and is looking only the deity is at the foremost and devotees have got no place, so he'll miss we will miss that compassion that actually the senior devotees has got towards the fallen souls, towards the other souls, and they want everyone to come closer to Krishna. And on the level of Madhyam Adhikari, actually the devotees are taking care compassionately of the other devotees of the, they are paying respect to their senior devotees, and ultimately they are giving instructions to the junior devotees so that they can also come on the level of the devotional service through which they can progress towards Krishna more and more. So ultimately, if we see closely, the objective is one, but ultimately the levels are different. Objective is to love and serve Lord Krishna, but the ultimately levels are different. That the Uttam Adhikari is seeing everyone compassionately, Madhyam Adhikari is progressing towards Uttam Adhikari and seeing compassionately towards the Kanishta Adhikari, and uh, the Kanishta Adhikari is actually trying to learn more and more through scriptural injunctions, through following the path of the Madhyam Adhikaris. So everyone is not on the same level. So when uh, they are not on the same level, at times if we will be treating them with the equal respect, the kind of compassion we can get from the Uttam Adhikaris and the Madhyam Adhikaris, we will be missing that point, and we will not be able to properly reciprocate, means get their reciprocation to us. Maybe that was
So
my actually
that's
thought
fine.
on.
So you are saying from the point of view of say Uttama Adhikari, label somebody as Uttama Adhikari, and then you label somebody as a Kanishta Adhikari, and they both will feel bad because Kanishta Adhikari will feel that okay, why am I being labeled here? I'll also label you as Kanishta Adhikari. So where
So
where
we
will
should
this
always
all
feel
take?
ourselves coming. No, that was on the mindset, Prabhuji. Means that mindset we are like we have got the sannyasis, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So he is respected by all, means all the Madhyam Adhikaris or Kanishta Adhikaris. But because he is showing that how his life is 24/7 Krishna conscious, and he is inspiring so many people. They may be youth, they may be the devotees who are uh, practicing the Krishna consciousness for decades altogether, and they may be just the neophyte one like me who is just yet to become even neophyte. So they are more compassionate, and so when we are not equally when we are on the equal treatment, we will be actually may end up gossiping, like we may end up asking them the silly kind of questions that is not actually pertaining to them, and that will be sheer wastage of their time. Since the association that we can take is that will be wasted if we are equally treating them on that equal fund. Not that we are not respecting even to the Kanishta Adhikaris, that respect is to be given, but the mindset is to be made up like that I need to take care of his, means I need to respect his words. What he is speaking is for implementation, is for my purification, because he has already passed through those stages. And similar goes with the Madhyam Adhikaris, that he is advancing towards. So here, if we take examples of like uh, that.
Jyoti Mataji, we'll move to Jyoti Mataji. Thank you,
Hare
Guruji,
Krishna
for
Right.
Prabhuji.
yes, Vinod Guruji, and then Jyoti
Uh,
Mataji.
Prabhuji, what I feel the kind of we need to with this process we will be practicing the submissive attitude among the devotees. See, ultimately everyone is submissive towards Lord Krishna, but that process has to be followed. That first we should be submissive to the senior devotees and then further senior devotees. So this process will put into the practice of submissive nature. So that's why this kind of segregation make us to the path of the submission. So if we cannot submit ourselves to our senior devotee, then how we are going to submit to the Krishna? So this is a kind of a process which has been developed by the our acharyas to practice that thing. That is my thought process.
Okay, thank you so much, Jyoti. Jyoti Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Okay, this distinction allows newer devotees to seek guidance from those with more extensive understanding and practice. So maybe like senior devotees having traversed their spiritual journey for a longer duration, they can offer valuable insights, mentorship, and support to those who are newer on the path. So, in this case, it can be differentiated in this way, like senior devotees who are very much into, they are very much having depth of spiritual knowledge, experiences, which they can share with us. So,
Okay, so the
that's it.
differentiation is more of a functional. It helps us function properly. What you're saying, right?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Swapnil Guruji, want to
Hare
say
Krishna,
something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, I always observe, and in my observance, I've always seen that you treat each and every devotee with equality, and that is what I say. Whether it doesn't matter in your eyes about any sort of differentiation, whether it is male devotee, female devotee. When it's a devotee, Krishna devotee. And I have never seen that you being personally differentiating any devotee. And with your observance, I feel all devotees should be equally treated. Functionally is a different matter, but being Krishna conscious and being a devotee, I think all devotees uh, are respectable. Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
We've got one view saying that should be treated equally, they should be respected, but functionally, we can treat them differently. That's I think in the consensus. So let's move forward. Let's see what Prabhupada say in the report. Angaraj, do you want to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes,
Prabhuji, from our side, we should respect all the devotees equally. But the logic behind treating the senior devotee more respectfully and then the all the devotees are have the same purpose. They want the connection with the Lord Krishna. The senior devotee is more closer to Krishna, but the devotee which is not much higher or much has not progressed a lot, for those devotees that might be the reason that those devotees get fall down. They get affected by the false praise or false obeisances. That may be the reason. It is suggested that high the devotee with the higher practices or more austerity, we try to give the more obeisances to that devotees because that devotee have the more connection with the Krishna. But from our side, it should be that we should feel obeisances or give obeisances with the equally to all devotees.
To all.
Hare
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So basically the common theme is that what I can hear is that all devotees need to be respected, but functionally some devotees need to be treated differently. And it's more of our interaction. It helps our interaction, and that's what Rupa Goswami is going to explain in this particular beautiful verse. And Prabhupada has explained it in such a beautiful purport, and we'll go through that and try and understand various aspects of this purport today in the rest of the session. So, Sri Rupa Goswami starts saying that in order to intelligently apply the sixfold loving reciprocations mentioned in the previous verse, one must select proper person to with careful discrimination. Now, so this is the very important statement that we want to apply the dadati pratigrahanati guhyam akhyati pruchatam bhunte bhujate chaivam shadvidam priti lakshanam. We want to have loving exchanges with devotees, and in the process we also want to share our heart. So we should bifurcate, we should differentiate, careful discrimination is important in this. Now, as the common theme goes, everyone should be respected, but there will always be someone who is very close to you, with whom you feel you can share your heart with. Not everyone you meet on the campus, in the Hare Krishna land, you go and start talking about your problems. That might not be appropriate. So the discrimination is default. We may not purposefully do it, but it will happen and it should happen as well. So the respect to everyone, but special interactions will be very special with some devotees and different with different devotees, different type of devotees. So we'll go further. So Rupa Goswami therefore advises that we should meet with the Vaishnavas in an appropriate way, according to their particular status. So we have to discriminate. We don't have to label people in physical way, but we should understand. That shows that we are able to differentiate between devotees, shows our advancement of Krishna consciousness. It reflects our progress in Krishna consciousness if we have capacity to differentiate between devotees, and it affects our interactions with them. So it reflects on our own progress and it affects our behavior with them, our interactions with them. So it help us in these two ways. So in this verse, Sri Rupa Goswami tells us how to deal with three types of devotees: the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. Now, this word adhikar, what does it really mean? And So the adhikar means authority. This is a very important concept in the spiritual life, in the spiritual journey. So authority is Kanishtha Adhikari will have lesser authority, and then the Madhyama Adhikari, and who will have more authority than the Kanishtha, and then the Uttama Adhikari has the highest amongst the three. So this bifurcation on what basis is done? So for example, the authority to study scriptures is given to Brahmanas. Brahmanas were authorized to study scriptures, others were not. And who is Brahmana really? One is who is born in the Brahminical family, or one who has acquired Brahminical qualities. So the qualities are always given more importance. So Guna Karma Vibhagashaya. Chatur Krishna says in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that he has divided this whole social system into the four this thing Chaturvarna, and that is based on Guna Karma Vibhagashaya. It is not based on the birth alone. The birth facilitates them to practice. It gives them more conducive environment to practice a particular type of activity, but it does not guarantee, or it does not authoritatively stamp a person as a Brahmana just because he's born in a Brahminical family. So a Brahmana is the one who has acquired Brahminical qualities and qualifications. So who can acquire? Anyone who wish to acquire Brahminical qualities, who is determined, who is able to control, regulate his mind and senses, and has the required intelligence, is submissive, and is ready to learn, he can acquire Brahminical qualifications and qualities. So that's why we see in our movement, those who were born in American families had no Vedic background, had no spiritual practice of any type, became perfect Brahmanas. They are initiating deities, they are installing in deities, they are creating temples, they are performing havans, yagyas, they are Sanskrit experts, they are publication, they are handling publications, Sanskrit publication, they are handling back to Godhead magazines, they are speaking on the Shastras, they are initiating disciples, they are giving Brahman initiations. They are doing all kind of activities, and they were never born to a Brahminical family. Typically, that is how it is known in our culture. But they acquire those Brahminical qualities, and therefore they become perfect Brahmanas. So Adhikar is not a static concept. It is a dynamic concept. So as one acquires the qualities of higher thing, one can lose also. So the progression is possible, but the regression is also equally possible. Like if one get caught up in Maya, one may suddenly lose Brahminical qualifications. So Ajamil was a qualified Brahmana. He had the knowledge of Shastras, and he was not leading a hellish life before he saw a prostitute embracing her lover. From that moment onwards, also, he did not fall down instantly. It was not an immediate fall down. He tried to fight the temptation using all his knowledge. However, the lust overcame his knowledge, and he allowed that to happen, and then therefore he fell down. So anybody who is has is it's a so this is dynamic in terms of anybody can move up the the hierarchy, but they can come down also in the hierarchy. The risk of they coming down the hierarchy is also equal. This similar topic is dealt with in the verse 6 of Sri Upanishad. We'll quickly look at what Prabhupada has written in the purport of this. So he's explained this three concept of Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. So Kanishta Adhikari, Prabhupada writes in the purport of Sri Upanishad verse 6, that is at the lowest stage of realization. He goes to a place of worship according to his religious faith, worship, and they worship there and according to the scriptural injunction. So he is the lowest. Amongst all devotees, the Kanishta Adhikari is the lowest. Now, so what does he do? devotees in this stage consider Lord to be present at the place of worship and nowhere else. So their understandings are not very evolved. They are neophyte. They are new and then they fight. They are at times fanatical also. So they are not very advanced in their conceptions and in their understanding, in their realizations, in their practice. So that's what get them to this particular category of Kanishta Adhikari. They cannot ascertain who is in what position in the devotional service, nor can they tell who has realized the Supreme Lord. So there again, one of the feature of Kanishta Adhikari, he does not give much attention to the devotees at all. That he does not pay enough attention. He doesn't differentiate between devotees, and he doesn't care for devotees to that extent. So he considers the dealings between him and Lord are the only important thing, and then he ignores devotees at times. So these Kanishta Adhikaris are actually materialistic devotees who are simply trying to transcend the material boundary to reach the spiritual plane. Madhyama Adhikaris observe the distinction between four categories of beings. Now, why the differentiation is required? So the four categories that Madhyama Adhikari is able to bifurcate are as such that the Supreme Lord is different than all the living entities, and then devotees of the Lord are different. So between Lord and others, then devotees and non-devotees. Then amongst devotees, the innocent who have no knowledge of the Lord, and the atheist who have no faith in the Lord and hate those in the devotion service. So this Madhyama Adhikari is one who has a broader vision and broader understanding, much deeper understanding of Tattva. And this Madhyama Adhikari behaves differently towards these four classes of persons. So his interactions with Lord Krishna are different. He interact with devotees differently. He interact with the innocents who are new to the Krishna consciousness, new to the spiritual journey differently. And with the atheists, he interacts differently. What does he do with the Lord? He adores the Lord, considering him to be the object of love. He makes friends with those who are in the devotional service. He tries to awaken or help help those who are new. And with the atheists, he avoid their association. So, Uttama Adhikari, the same verse explains that who see everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee does not discriminate between atheists and theists, but see everyone as part and parcel of God. He sees that the Brahmana particle of the Supreme Lord has not misused his title, his little independence and given to him by Lord, and that a dog particle has misused the independence. So a Brahmana who is fixed in Sattva Guna, practicing devotional service, has not misused his small independence given to by Lord. And dog has already has already misused that that independence, that free will that is given to us. A dog become dog because of such misuse of free will. A beggar become beggar because he has worked hard to become a beggar by misusing the free will given to him. Anybody who is pathetic, who is in a pathetic condition, is not by accident. They have worked hard to get into that bad position. Apparently, a hog has become hog after a lot of hard work. A beggar has become a beggar after committing a lot of sinful activities. So it's not, none of this has happened by chance, which means that they have misused the free will that was given to them, and as a result of which they are either become a dog or a beggar or a poor person or a pathetically living entity, or they become a brahmana or devotee or pure devotee or whatever. such a learned Uttamadhikari, such a learned devotee is not misled by material bodies but attracted in the spiritual spark within these bodies. Coming back to the Mr. of instruction purport, Prabhupada again elaborate on this Kanishta Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari is a neophyte who has received the Harinam. Now, Prabhupada gives slightly different translation of the same term. Terminology is same, the Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. However, Prabhupada gives slightly different categorization than what we see in the Ishopanishad. So here, Prabhupada writes that one who is received some Harinam, one who is, so he is basically bringing all the three under a devotee category, not non-devotee. So within devotees also, one is who received the Harinam, one is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and has from the spiritual master, and is trying to chant the holy name. He is considered as a Kanishta Adhikari. Then one should respect such a person in mind, with his mind, within his mind as a Vaishnava. The Madhyama Adhikari, who is received not only the Harinam Diksha but also the Brahman Diksha, the two Dikshas, two type of initiation that happens. And in Islam, that one is become one gets Harinam from Guru, one accepts a spiritual master and start chanting Harinam under his guidance, instructions, and then one gets Brahminical initiation, and then one is allowed to perform deity worship directly into the temple hall. So that so the second Madhyama Adhikari has received spiritual initiation from spiritual master and has been fully engaged by him in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So the two things, one is additional, one has received both the initiations, and one is dedicatedly serving lovingly the Lord. That's the Madhyama Adhikari. The Madhyama Adhikari should be considered to be situated in the midway in the path of devotional service. The Uttama Adhikari, or the highest devotee, is one who is very advanced in the devotional service. Uttama Adhikari is not interested. Now, Prabhupada gave very generic meaning of Uttama Adhikari, doesn't really take it to a level where we cannot comprehend it. He keeps it very simple. So Uttama Adhikari is not interested in blaspheming others. His heart is completely clean and he has attained the realized state of unalloyed Krishna consciousness. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, the association and service of such a Mahabhagavata or a perfect Vaishnava are most desirable. Association and service both. So one should aspire, therefore, when I asked Prabhuji, what should we do today? Should we go and do book distribution in Navi Mumbai, or should we come and hear from Rameshwar Prabhu? He said the second, that opportunities to associate with pure Vaishnava are rare. And those who have spent so much time with Prabhupada, they're so pure, they've given up their life for serving Sri Prabhupada in his movement. So anything can be given up to hear from such pure souls. So therefore we have to cancel today's book distribution, and we all should be eagerly listening to the session that will be taken up by His Grace Rameshwar Prabhuji. So this is so two things again comes out, that one should always be eager to submissively hear. One should always be eager to submissively hear from a pure devotee, and one should long to get their association and render service to such devotees. So eagerness and longing both is not at mental level, because when if it is at mental level, it will never get translated into actions. So if it is done at physical level, it has to be one eagerness. The moment the opportunity comes, we should leave everything and go and take that opportunity. We long to get association. So with the moment such opportunity come to give some seva, to associate with such devotees, we should grab it as if it may never come again, and that could be true as well. This opportunity we should grab as if as a thirsty person can grab a glass of water in Sahara Desert on a hot afternoon. So like that, we should grab opportunity to associate with pure Vaishnavas. Prabhupada writes further that one should not remain a Kanishta Adhikari, one who is situated on the lowest platform of devotional service and is interested only in worshipping the deity in the temple. Such a devotee is described in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the second chapter, 47th verse, that a person who is faithfully engage in the worship of the deity in the temple, but who does not know how to behave towards devotees or persons in people in general is called Prakruta Bhakta or Kanishta Adhikari. So Prakruta is to deal with Prakriti. He only has material vision. He is unable to differentiate, he is unable to behave properly with devotees, and such a person is definitely considered as a Kanishta Adhikari. If one is unable to differentiate between devotees and non-devotees, and amongst devotees who are advanced devotees, who are Madhyama Adhikari, and who are neophytes, and he consider everyone as equal, or he does not look at devotees at all, he completely ignores the devotees. Now such a person is called Prakruta Bhakta, or not a very advanced devotee. In fact, it's the lowest amongst all devotees, and we see many of these people. Some of us could be in this category as well, those who consider that my Krishna consciousness is a business between me and Krishna. I don't care about others. I don't need other people. I don't have to serve devotees for my advancement in spiritual practice. Devotees can be there or they need not be there. It doesn't matter. And my alone practice will take me to Krishna. Now, these kind of notions are indications of somebody who is in the initial stage of devotional service. One has to understand that one alone cannot attain Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Beej. The Guru has to be there. Krishna is never alone. Krishna, wherever he appears, and as Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appears with his entire paraphernalia. The entire group, entire gang of devotees comes with him. There are so many demigods, all his pure devotees, all his dear devotees appear along with Krishna. He doesn't come alone. So in the spiritual world is also not a place where we will sit alone and meditate on the Lord and do nothing. We have to do things in the spiritual world. And spiritual world also, there are devotees with whom we have to interact. And as Virat Prabhuji said, that if we are not able to be submissive to devotees, we can never become submissive to Krishna. We will only be offensive to Krishna. We will always look at him as our competitor. That's a very unfortunate state. So without serving devotees, one cannot make advancement in the Krishna consciousness. One therefore has to raise himself from the position of Kanishta Adhikari to the platform of Madhyama Adhikari. The Madhyama Adhikari is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 46th verse in this way. The Madhyama Adhikari is a devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the highest object of love, makes friends with the devotees of Lord, be merciful to the ignorant and avoid those who are envious by nature. So in this verse, Sri Rupa Goswami has advised us how to treat different categories, different devotees differently. So it shows our differentiation, a different approach taken to deal with different people is not that we are differentiating with them. We are favoring some and we behaving bad with others. It is not that. It shows, it reflects that our advancement in the spiritual Krishna consciousness, because now we are able to bucket devotees according to their progression, according to their own sadhana, according to their own realizations in the journey of Krishna consciousness. And we are able to not only understand it, we are able to deal with them accordingly. So a neophyte can also be is also a devotee who's just started chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is also a devotee, an important devotee, but he should not be treated like a Madhyama or Uttama Adhikari. We should be giving him care and affection and guidance so that he eventually rise to the Madhyama platform. So it affects our interactions, and it reflects our understanding of Krishna consciousness. Noting it. So in this, Prabhupada writes in the purport, in this Krishna consciousness movement, a chance is given to everyone without discrimination of caste, creed, and color. So Prabhupada writing that these statuses are also not static statuses. So one is Kanishta, if I classify somebody as Kanishta, I look at him as Kanishta forever. No, that is not the point. The point is he is right now as in this current position, and there is a chance for everyone to progress to the higher positions. So that chance is offered to each and everyone without discrimination. So there's no discrimination there that only if you're born in a Brahminical family you get chance to become Madhyamadhikari. No, anybody without caste, creed, and color of their skin can become Uttamadhikari, can become. All they need to do is to apply themselves properly in a submissive spirit to the process of devotional service under the guidance of spiritual master. And then anybody can become Uttama. And that's why this is beautiful. That's why this is so critical. So that's why there's no discrimination. There is a proper understanding and proper dealings that it facilitates. Everyone is invited to join this movement. Sit with us, take prasada, and hear about Krishna. What you need to do? Sit with us, take prasada, and hear about Krishna. Bhujam akhyati pruchatam, dadati pratigrahanati, and give an association. This is sitting together. The physical association is also there. When we see that someone is actually interested in Krishna consciousness and wants to be initiated, we accept him as a disciple for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. When a neophyte devotee is actually initiated and engaged in devotional service by the order of the spiritual master, he should be accepted immediately as a bona fide Vaishnava, and obeisances should be offered to him. Out of many such Vaishnavas, one may be found to be very seriously engaged in the service of the Lord and strictly following all the regulatory principles, chanting the prescribed number of rounds on japa beads, and always thinking of how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. So, the various things mentioned here, that out of many such Vaishnavas who may get initiation, who may get diksha from Guru, not all of them will progress to a next level. So out of many such Vaishnavas, out of thousands, only few may try to know Krishna. Krishna says, Manushanam Sahasreshu. So similarly, Prabhupada is saying here that out of many, very few will get interested in chanting of the Harinam. And those who are, we will give them initiation. And out of many such initiated devotees, only few will be found to be very seriously engaged in that devotional service to the Lord and strictly following all regulatory principles, chanting the prescribed rounds and thinking of how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. Now, all of these should be there to transcend from Madhyama to Uttama. Now, this is a very simplified version of Uttamadhikari. Uttamadhikari is much more than that. But in a simplistic way, we can understand that this is a transition that one can experience from Madhyama to Uttama. Such a Vaishnava, Prabhupada writes further in the purport that such a Vaishnava should be accepted as an Uttamadhikari, a highly advanced devotee, and his association should always be sought. The process by which a devotee becomes attached to Krishna is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antalila, 4th chapter, 192 verse. A lot of verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita are quoted by Prabhupada. And these are all very sweet. Whole Chaitanya Charitamrita is very sweet, and these verses are also very beautiful, very sweet verses. Diksha kele bhakta kare atma samarpana, sei kale Krishna kare atma sama. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders to the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him as to be as good as he himself. Atma sama. Krishna sei kala Krishna tare atma samarpana. So this is how Krishna accepts. This is what Krishna does when a bhakta, a devotee, Atma Samarpan, when he does Atma Samarpan, he commits himself, surrenders himself, fully agrees that he will perform devotional service under the guidance of his spiritual master. And then Krishna considers him to be equal, consider him as himself only. Such a beautiful, such powerful thought, right? If Krishna becomes so happy that when a devotee agrees to get initiation, accept initiation, and surrenders himself, dedicate himself, commit himself to the service of his guru, Krishna becomes so happy. Prabhupada writes further that Diksha or a spiritual initiation is explained in the Bhakti Sandarbha 283 by Srila Jiva Goswami. By Diksha, one gradually becomes disinterested in the material enjoyment and gradually becomes interested in spiritual life. Now, interesting to know the English word initiation is the beginning, which marks the beginning of what? Beginning of slowly becoming disinterested in material life and gradually becomes interested in spiritual life. It is not that stopping material life means going to a stage where we do nothing. No. We should be engaged in spiritual life, engaged in spiritual activities. So it's not ceasing to do activities. It is replacing our material activities with spiritual activities, and that's why it becomes very critical. Prabhupada writes further that we have seen, Prabhupada give example of various Western disciples who came in contact with him in an initial period of this movement, and they all came from rich backgrounds. America was the most prosperous nation after World War II in 1966 when Prabhupada was forming and spreading the movement in the United States of America. So it was the richest country and the most advanced, scientifically most advanced country. It had things which other rest of the world had no clue about. The cars, the air conditioners, the facility, the scientific equipment, the everything was so advanced in America that the world had no clue about. Those inventions were non-existent in the rest of the world, but America was enjoying those products. So, so that and then many of Prabhupada disciples, not all of them were hippies. Many of those disciples came from rich, respectable families, and when they took up to the process of devotional service, they started chanting, they started living in temple, they started chanting along with the devotees. They quickly lost all interest in the material enjoyment and become very eager to enter into the spiritual life. Prabhupada writes further that although they came from very wealthy families, many of them accepted living conditions that are not very comfortable. And those temples in the early days were not very prosperous. Now we see a nice facility when we come to ISKCON Juhu temple or even ISKCON Bhivandi or any ISKCON temple will be very nicely nice place. It will be very nice, clean place, lot of spacious, lot of space will be there to sit, to do worship and to hear katha. There will be separate facility for taking prasad and separate facility for doing some gift shopping and etc. So a temple is nice. It's become very nice and comfortable place now. But in the earlier period, it was not the case. Very small. The storefront were converted into temples, so not very comfortable living conditions for the brahmacharis who are living in those temples. It was not very opulent. That's what Prabhupada is referring to. But why they still accepted less comfortable positions and giving up their own comfortable houses? Indeed, for Krishna's sake, they are prepared to accept any living condition as long as they can live in the temple and associate with the Vaishnavas. So that is the eagerness. That is the eagerness of we associating, having desire to associate with Vaishnavas. What should we do? We can do anything. We should be prepared to do anything. And then these American disciples demonstrated that. They left their comfortable homes. Their homes were more comfortable by any standard that we have even as of today. American homes are you can imagine the opulence that exists there. And that this need not be a wealthy American's home. It could be a middle class home will also have so much opulence that even a rich person in India can still get bewildered by seeing it. And so these boys and girls, they left those comfortable living conditions and then they came and lived in temples with a lot of inconvenience. They came to India. There's been perpetual diarrhea. Whoever has come from all the Western disciples who came to India suffered. Immediately they used to suffer from diarrhea. They used to suffer like anything, and they used to have so much inconvenience, and despite of in the Mumbai temple is an example of struggle, is a testimony of struggle put in by so many Westerners, Western disciples of Srila Prabhupada, uh, just to fulfill one promise given by Srila Prabhupada to Radha Rasbehari Ji, that I will build a palace-like temple on this land, and this will you please be prepared to be please bear with me. Only in due course of time I will build a beautiful temple over here for you. And this was Prabhupada's request to Radha Rasbehari Ji. So what to speak of disciples? Even Radha Rasbehari Ji was performing austerity in Hare Krishna land, living in a very small tin shed with rats flying around here, there, and he was prepared. Very little bhoga, very not much of facilities. So even what to speak of devotees performing austerities, even deities perform austerities for the at the request of Srila Prabhupada. So that should be our so we can imagine what should be how eager we should be to associate with those devotees and be prepared to do anything and everything for the sake of that association, getting that instructions from hearing from pure devotees and associating and rendering some service to them in some way. That should be the level of our eagerness. And that leads to advancement in spiritual life. Prabhupada writes that for advancement of spiritual life, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.13 prescribes tapasa brahmacharyena shamena cha damena cha. When a person is serious about accepting diksha, he must be prepared to practice austerity, celibacy, and control of his mind and body. Now, these are the things that will help us help us properly associate with devotees also, and also perform devotional service without any interruption, with great commitment and sincerity. If one is so prepared and is desirous of receiving spiritual enlightenment, Divya Jnanam, he is fit for being initiated. The chanting, the Prabhupada talks about chanting, the powers of the potency of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and what it can do to us. That is explained in the subsequent part of the purport. The chanting of the holy names of Krishna is so sublime that if one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly, carefully, avoiding the 10 offenses, he can certainly be gradually elevated to the point of understanding that there is no difference between the holy name and the Lord himself. Holy name of the Lord and Lord himself, there is no difference. He can elevate himself to the point where he can understand that. And when we can understand Krishna, when Krishna gives us the Dadami Buddhi Yogam Dvam, so he gives us the additional intelligence. So we by our offenseless, sincere chanting, we attract mercy from Krishna. And when we get that mercy, we understand that how holy name and holy Krishna and holy name and Krishna are not different. And though it is mentioned in the Shastra, we realize it when we get mercy from Krishna. So Prabhupada writes further that one who has reached such an understanding should be very much respected by neophyte devotees. So neophyte must understand that I am a neophyte. And then what I should do, I should respect everyone. And then if one is able to understand the different categories of devotees, then one is in the Madhyama stage. And again, one has to then be more cautious while dealing with all the devotees according to their nature. So, Prabhupada writes further that one should know for certain that without chanting the holy name of the Lord offenselessly, one cannot be a proper candidate for advancement in Krishna consciousness. So very categorical statement by Prabhupada that without chanting, if anybody is thinking of making progress in the in the spirituality, it is impossible. So anybody who is lazy in chanting on the japa beads, chanting properly as per the as it is been prescribed, they will continue to struggle to be Krishna conscious, and that's what Prabhupada writes in a very advancement in Krishna consciousness is not possible for somebody who is not accepting chanting of the holy name properly. And how we should be chanting is given in the previous section of the same, the first bullet of the same slide. So we should be very careful about our Chita. Again, few more verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22:69. It is said that Yahara Komala Shraddha se Kanistha Jana क्रमे क्रमे तेनहो bhakta hai aibe uttama. So how the transition from Kanistha to Uttama can happen is explained here. The one whose faith is soft and palliable is called a neophyte, Kanistha Bhakta. But by gradually following the process, he will rise to the platform of a first class devotee. Everyone begins his devotional life from the neophyte stage or Nishtha stage, but if one properly finishes chanting of the prescribed number of rounds of Harinam, he is elevated step by step, krame krame, to the highest platform of Uttama Adhikari. The Krishna consciousness movement prescribes 16 rounds, 16 daily rounds, because people in the Western countries cannot concentrate for long periods by chanting on beads. So 16 rounds on beads, 16 attentive rounds on beads is what is required. Therefore, the minimum number of rounds is prescribed. While giving instructions to Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu divided devotional service into 3 categories. Shastra Yukti Nahi Jane, Dridha Shraddhavan. Shastra Yukti Nahi Jane, Dridha Shraddhavan, Madhyama Adhikari Sei Mahabhagyavan. So Madhyama Adhikari is described in this particular beautiful verse. Mahaprabhu says that a person whose conclusive knowledge of the Shastra is not very strong, but who has developed firm faith in the chanting of the Harinam. Dridha Shraddhava. Dridha Shraddha is firm faith in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and who is also undeterred in the execution of prescribed devotional service should be considered a Madhyama Adhikari. Such a person is very fortunate, Mahabhagyam. So again, the bifurcation, may appears to be, because in some places Madhyama Adhikari is described in this way, in some places Madhyama Adhikari is described in some other way, and so these descriptions may vary in verse to verse or chapter to chapter or scripture to scripture. Bhagavatam it is described in some way, Chaitanya Charitamrita explains it in slightly other way. However, general learning can be drawn that there are 3 categories minimal, and where we belong to, that should be clear to us. Then it is easier for us to identify, look at others, and then accordingly reciprocate with other people, other devotees. Next verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita 20.64, it is said that Shraddhavan Gyane Haya Bhakti Adhikari Uttama Madhyama Kanistha Shraddha Anusari. As per Shraddha, as per one's faith, one becomes qualified as a devotee on the elementary platform, or the intermediate platform, or the highest platform. Kanistha, Madhyama, or Uttama. One gets classified based on what? Based on their faith, according to the development of their faith or Shraddha. Now, if we see why it is said like that. Now, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gives Ado Shraddha with the 9 steps in which a devotee progresses. A devotee who is new to Krishna consciousness, whom we meet on the Juhu beach or in Navi Mumbai while doing book distribution. Now, why they accept book from us is because they have some basic Shraddha. They understand that there is God. They may not know who is God. They may not have good proper understanding of what the conception of God per se, but they are Shraddha. They have basic Shraddha, and they, looking at you, they consider that looking at us, looking at devotees who are distributing Bhagavad Gita, and looking at the Bhagavad Gita itself, and they have heard of something about Bhagavad Gita as well. So looking at these 2 things, us devotees distributing Bhagavad Gita and actual Bhagavad Gita, they understand that if they don't know perfectly things, but they can look up to these 2 things, devotee and the scripture, to get some more knowledge. So this is the basic level of Shraddha that a person must possess. And that is why people take books from us. Now we have to use that Shraddha to take them to the next level. The next level is sadhu sangha. We should give them association. So we encourage all devotees to not only just give books, but if find out while during the interaction, if they're interested in listening to the Bhagavad Gita or studying Bhagavad Gita, if they because we have program called chat where we read Bhagavad Gita one chapter and we discuss one verse. We read 30 minutes Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, if one is prepared to buy a book, give Lakshmi for purchasing a book, he also might be interested in hearing or knowing what is there in the book. Some of them might be, not everyone, but some of them might be very much interested in knowing what's written inside this book. And so for them, we should exchange our numbers. We should take their numbers. If we find somebody more keen in understanding what is also inside the book, we should explain them, but how much we will explain in short interaction that we have. So they need to also learn it in a systematic way. So we should exchange their numbers. We should take down their numbers. We should find out where they live and if they will be prepared to come to the temple, visit temples. And so this is sadhu sangha. We are giving them our association. And if they reciprocate nicely, they say that, okay, the secret of success seminar is happening on so and so date, please come. And if they actually come, then their bhajana kriya will start, because now they are systematically hearing about the scripture, and they will be engaged by sadhus in chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So by connecting Krishna to our Chetana, to our consciousness, by bringing Krishna into our consciousness, Krishna is able to, we are compromising our free will to maintain our attachments, free will to have desires for sense gratification, free will to have our own doubts. And because when Krishna comes into our consciousness, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andhakar, this ignorance, this attachment for matter, that is ignorance, avidya. And that avidya disappears because Krishna Surya Sama Maya Adhakar. Jeha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Ro Adhikar. So Maya does not have any authority in the place where Krishna exists. So if we somehow are able to bring Krishna into our consciousness, we can think of Krishna, we can read what Krishna has spoken, we can speak Bhagavad Gita, we can do Hare Krishna Mahamantra Japa. If we can do all this, then the anartha nivritti will happen, the cheto darpana marjana will happen, the mirror of our chetana, mind will get cleansed by the Harinam, and then the anartha nivritti will happen. The anarthas which are there inside us, the bad desires, the lower desires of desires to break the regulative principles, to associate with non-devotees, to involve unnecessarily into politics, sports, movies, songs, and to indulge into all kind of nonsensical activities which will consume our time, which otherwise could have been used for Krishna consciousness. So those desires will slowly start disappearing. So this is called anartha nivritti. We become peaceful. Atman Pashyan Atmani Tushyati. So it's like one computer screen wherein the input coming from various cameras is there, and one is busy looking at different boxes. This camera is showing the front gate, this camera shows in this gate, this part of the office, this part of the office, this part of the building. And so one is busy seeing inputs coming from different sources, and one is extremely agitated because everything is, it's a bahushakha anantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. There's no single-minded focus one is able to maintain, and his intelligence become multi-brand because he has to look at each and every box, find out what's happening there, and respond accordingly. When it's extremely tiring experience, but when that one switch off, disconnects that computer screen, and no longer those inputs are reaching the mind, are reaching my chetana, are not disturbing me. Even if they come in, eyes will continue to see, but it stops agitating me. and it starts appearing on the screen of my mind, the screen, as if one switch off the screen. As we switch off the computer screen, the light coming within the screen gets disappeared, and the screen becomes shant, prashant, peaceful. And now, if you're still in front of that screen, you will see your reflection in that screen. This is Pashyan Apuni Tushyati, the 6th chapter, 21st verse. Very beautiful. Now, this realizing, seeing yourself as getting realization that you are that spiritual spark, you are that soul who is also Satchid Ananda. One will develop peace of mind, and then the process of sadhu sangha, process given by sadhus, the bhajana kriya, the hearing and chanting process, we become fixed in that process. That faith, the initial jigyasa, is now become nishtha. And because now we don't want to give up hearing and chanting in any condition. Now we are becoming eager to serve Vaishnavas. We are becoming eager to hear, eager to associate, eager to chant Hare Krishna mantra, eager to serve the movement in any way we can. Now our eagerness, our anxiety has replaced by eagerness to serve. We look forward for opportunities to render service. We look forward to get up early in the morning and chant. Chanting doesn't become a ritual for us. It doesn't become things to do, a checkbox to be ticked in the morning anymore. Now chanting becomes relishable. Chanting becomes enjoyable. We look forward to do those things which we enjoy. So our nishtha can get turned into the ruchi and asakti. Eventually it goes to the bhava and prema state. So bhava is when we discuss the verse, beautiful verse today morning, that yugaitam nimishena chakshusha prabhushanitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam jo govinda virahena. This viraha is experienced in the bhava. And the next verse which we will talk about, ashlishava padartam panishtavam padarshana marma hatam karotu yam. And yatha tathava vidhatu lampato mat pranava tastusa evanapara. The 8th verse of Shikshanashtakam will tell us about prem. This is the love of Radharani. So the gopis are at the bhava stage and Radharani is at the prem stage. She speaks her mind that no matter what you will do to me, you will continue to be my prananath, the Lord of my heart, and no matter what you do to me. And so this is the progression that we can achieve simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, simply by hearing glorification of Lord Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita 22:62. Another beautiful verse. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudruda Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Pratahaya. By rendering transcendental service to Lord Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. This confident, firm faith favorable to the discharge of devotional service is called Shraddha. Shraddha. Now, so if you see in the previous slide, the Shraddha is what the person moving from Shraddha to Prema, it's nothing but deepening of one's faith becoming stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And in the bhava and the prema stage, one is completely able to surrender to Krishna. Rakshasya with the Vishwaso. The Krishna will protect. I have Vishwas. The cowherd boy is walking inside the mouth of Aghasur, thought for a while that he can be a demon. We might be entering into the mouth of a demon. But then they were worried. They were worry free completely. They said even if it is a demon, Krishna will protect. That is not our headache to protect us. If Krishna wants us to be killed, he will let us kill. And if he wants us to be protected, he will protect us. So that kind of faith is not easy to attain. So, but the chanting can lead us to that kind of a faith as well. The chanting, the connection with Krishna, the contact that we have with Krishna while doing japa and while hearing Krishna Katha will eventually lead us to that stage as well. Prabhupada writes further, the words of Bhagavad Gita are authoritative instructions for faithful man. And whatever Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita is to be accepted as it is without interpretation. This was the way Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita. After hearing Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna told Krishna, Sarvam etam pratam manye yam evam vadasi Keshava. So, O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. 10.14. This is the correct way of understanding Bhagavad Gita, and it is called Shraddha. It is not that one accepts a portion of Bhagavad Gita and according to his own whimsical interpretations and then rejects the another portion. That is not Shraddha. Shraddha means accepting the instructions of Bhagavad Gita in their totality, especially the last instruction, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. 18.66. When one becomes completely faithful in regard to this instruction, one's strong faith becomes the basis for advancing in the spiritual life. When one fully engages in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he gradually realizes his own spiritual identity. Unless one faithfully chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Krishna does not reveal himself. That's what we spoke. That by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra sincerity, with all sincerity, we are demonstrating to Krishna that we are interested in receiving his mercy. We are desirous of receiving his mercy. And then Krishna gives his mercy. Dadami buddhi yogam tvam. By my intelligence, you will understand me. And then he reveals himself. He reveals himself and then only we understand Krishna. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.234. We cannot realize the Supreme Personality Godhead by any artificial means. We must engage faithfully in the service of the Lord. Such service begins with the tongue. We should not chant or accept anything else. We should only chant, which means we should only chant Hare Krishna Mantra. We should only eat prasad. These are the two uses that the tongue has. So we should only use our tongue for glorifying Krishna, for chanting his name and taking prasad, not use it for anything else. So when this process is faithfully followed, the Supreme Lord reveals himself to the devotee. When a person realizes himself to be an eternal servitor of Krishna, he loses interest in everything else but Krishna's service. Always thinking of Krishna, devising means by which to spread the holy name of Krishna, he understands that his only business is in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Such a person is to be recognized as an Uttama Adhikari, and his association should be immediately accepted according to the 6 processes, Pradati, Pratigrahanati, etc. Indeed, the advanced Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava devotee should be accepted as a spiritual master. Everything one possesses should be offered to him, for it is enjoined that one should deliver whatever he has to the spiritual master. So we'll conclude. Prabhupada concludes by these statements. The verse, which is important verse, where we looked at why we have different type of devotees in the first place. What that classification is based upon? It's not based upon caste, creed, rich, famous, educated, uneducated. None of those white skin, black skin, or brown skin. It is not dependent on that. It is dependent on how one is able to accept the path of accept and practice the bhakti yoga, the devotional service, with all sincerity of heart. And if one is sincere, Krishna reveals himself, and by Krishna's mercy they progress. So Prabhupada concludes by this statement that in this verse, Rupa Goswami advises that devotees to be intelligent enough to distinguish between the Kanishtha, Madhyama, and Uttama Adhikari. The devotees should also know his own position and should not try to imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. Our ability to differentiate and behave differently with different devotees reflect and affect our own Krishna consciousness. It reflect and it affect it reflects, because if you are able to distinguish carefully, properly, then it shows to others and to shows to ourselves as well that we have made some advancement to the spiritual life. And it affects, because now we, after having identified different devotees, we need to reciprocate with them accordingly. And that shows our behavior, that modify our behavior while dealing with different people differently. So it is not differentiation, but done at the level of knowledge through which we and other devotees get a chance to advance. So unless we do this, it's like when the school exams are conducted, the same teacher teaches for 30 minutes and the end of the class conducts a small examination, and each student get different marks. Now, if should each student be differentiated according to the numbers that they get? Of course, yes, because then they are all given a chance to advance. If somebody has scored low, should be given more attention so that he improves. And if some then the somebody who has scored 100% marks, not that that person has to be ignored and all attention only has to be given to the person who scored low, but it helps us modify our behavior with them, with each one of them. Therefore, uh, everybody comes to the school, pay the same fee, wear the similar uniform, come to the school same time and leave the school at same time. So if there are so many common things that happens among student, they why are they then treated differently on marks when it comes to grades? They are treated differently so that everyone can progress in their journey of education. Similarly, we differentiate between devotees so that we can modify our behavior according to the status of each devotee, and we progress and give chance to others to progress as well. So these are not, one should not think that if I'm a Kanishta, I'm permanently a Kanishta. Prabhupada clearly writes that every Kanishta should aspire to become at least a Madhyama, if not Uttama. So Uttama is one who is completely at a spiritual level, completely only sees everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. Only think of how he can advance Krishna consciousness, how he can give Krishna to each and every person, living entity in this world. He's completely different level altogether at times, and at times, we should not imitate them, but we can aspire to become like them, and we should aspire. We should be eager to submissively hear from them, associate with them, and serve them in any way possible. And that we should do it with all our eagerness, all our anxiety should be for service of such devotees. So these are not fixed categories, but can be changed if one applies sincerely to the process of hearing and chanting and rendering faithful, loving devotional service to the Lord and his devotees. So, so this way, we have concluded the fifth verse of Nectar of Instruction. And from now onwards, Sri Rupa Goswami will take those conceptions of devotional service higher. So in the subsequent verses, we will shortly. So we started with the fourth verse, told us how the loving relationships happen amongst people in general. Also, if you see, if when we go and meet for family, we carry some gift, we talk and we eat together. So it's also done amongst devotees. So the fourth verse is more of a common verse. The fifth verse is going deep into the devotional aspect of devotional service, because now I'm talking about initiated devotee, Brahman initiated devotee, and so on and so forth, and Uttama Adhikari, who is a spiritual master. So it is then taking it deeper, taking the concept deeper, and taking it to the level where we are now dealing amongst devotees. Also, we are bifurcating. And we are generally trying to, in the fourth verse, we're generally trying to be good with everyone. In the fifth verse, we're trying to classify devotees and deal with each of them in the way we should be. And the conceptions will be taken deeper, and it will go on to identify in the 11th verse, Radharani, who is the gopis and the Radharanis and the Brajabhumi as a climax of this book, that in the 11 verses, Sri Rupa Goswami will take us to the take us to the highest devotee, take us to the highest devotee of Lord Krishna, and should tell us why she is the best devotee. Or the gopis, why are they the topmost devotees of Lord, and what is in it them that makes them those topmost devotees. So from 6 to 11, just span of few verses, we will transcend great heights from a neophyte to Radharani, and it will be a fascinating journey. So request all of you to continue reading this beautiful book, and also keep attending these sessions. We'll try and discuss them as as I hear from senior devotees and Vaishnavas, and as I understand, I'm trying to relay this information to you. Hopefully, it should be interest. It should be of interest to and benefit to all of you, and help you all become wonderful devotees of Lord. Hari Bol. So we'll just break for questions, and if any, on the topics that we discussed today, or else we can conclude today's session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for this wonderful session that you have just given, and clarifying so many doubt which were actually we were carrying over, and this is very enriching actually, that the behavior and the functional and the two aspects that you beautifully put in, that the respect is to be offered the unanimously, but there is a functional behavior that is to be uh, put in place when we are dealing with devotees. And this is possible because we at times we might have read, or even if we have not read the nectar of instruction, this is these are some kind of points which are beyond understanding, and there comes the key roles of the senior devotees, wherein they clears the path, and we can just simply endeavor to walk on it, and can try to become. And as you mentioned that whenever I call myself that less than the neophyte, it is actually Srila Prabhupada is actually Srila Prabhupada is actually defining it, that who have got initiated are actually the means they are rising above the neophyte level. But ultimately, what I personally feel is that when we are in association of devotees, and we are trying to learn from them, and trying to walk that path, then ultimately a merciful path is being given to us on whenever we are associating with devotees, and it looks much simpler. As at times Srila Prabhupada mentions that devotional service is not that easy to perform. One need to perform so many austerities. But in association, actually, this may be just my personal feeling, but it looks like that this is doable. This can be achieved. This is achievable. But this is only achievable when we try to walk the path. And otherwise, even to understand a single word from Srimad Bhagavad Gita is just a Herculean task. Means it cannot be understood. That is again my personal experience when I read it without the guidance of the devotees. So ultimately, my whatever opinion comes out in hearing your nectarian sessions, that it is the association of devotees which gives us the beautiful insight about any tattva. Otherwise, we are not able, we are just mentally speculating, and we are not understanding the tattva behind it. So, thank you very much for being that kind of backbone wherein you are engraving the dull-headed mind of the fallen soul like me. And maybe by your mercy, by mercy of Acharyas, we will one day be able to perform devotional service of Lord Krishna and his devotees very, very intensely. Thank you very much for your wonderful endeavors, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, so so these are uh, this is possible because of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and all his associates. They agrees to make devotional service easy, look easy, especially in the association of devotees. And I agree. Tried reading Bhagavad Gita before as well, and I couldn't understood about neither verse. And what am I supposed to do with this book? I could not figure out. And so that's why when we give Bhagavad Gita, we should feel compassionate for those people who are taking Bhagavad Gita. And one is a genuine heart who is taking Bhagavad Gita has some piety, and we should offer them opportunity to get connected with the hearing session, because unless they hear, how are they going to understand? So connect. That's why we, we should always be eager to connect people to the hearing process somehow or the other, in whatever way possible. So that their advancement begins when they actually hear submissively. Buying book is just demonstrate their piety. So, but it does not guarantee their advancement unless they hear in association of devotees. That's why we focus that we encourage everybody to also distribute books, but also give people Vishnu in some way or the other. If they read on their own and advance, that's great. But if they not, give them opportunity to hear in association of things. And we, by the mercy of all the great Vaishnavas, we have created such a wonderful facility. Like by sitting in comforts of our home, office, wherever we could be, we can hear every day. We can do japa every day, we do it every day on digital platforms and carry out our sadhana in their association. So it's very unfortunate if you are not doing it, not willing to do this. But we all should look forward to it and take maximum advantage of it, rather than postponing it to our next birth. So there are no questions. I don't see any questions. So let's conclude today's sessions. Thank you everyone for joining and staying back. And we'll continue with the 6th verse in the next coming Sunday. And the intensity, as I said, each verse take us deeper into the devotional service, and becomes more and more, reveals more, becomes more and more beautiful. We'll hopefully, with Krishna's mercy, with Acharya's mercy, with our mercy from senior devotees, we'll be able to discuss those in whatever way we can to build our own understanding and help you gain some understanding benefit out of it. So till we meet next Sunday, please continue learning japa session, charge sessions, and always remain in association of devotees. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat 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 Pranam.